Thank you for tuning in to our third annual Blue Jean Bash. We are thrilled to be able to honor the Robinsons even though we cannot be in person. Sit back and relax and enjoy supporting Kansas City youth. I assure you, we need you more than ever.
Good evening. My name's Howard Ellis, and on behalf of my wife, Chris, and myself, we're honored to be part of this wonderful celebration tonight honoring the Robinson family. We're sorry we can't be here in person, but we thought we wanted to give this small tribute to them. I thought about the history of the Robinson family's involvement with youth ambassadors, and it seemed to me like it was a perfect storm. I know that Carrie was involved early on in the care of youth and youth at risk. And I know that the Robinson family was very interested in taking care in some way of youths and kids at risk. The timing was perfect for them to do it at the moment that Carrie felt that she should bring this option to the family. And therein lies the perfect storm. The family has been wonderful, I know, for youth ambassadors. I know that Carrie and Michael and Ashley and Scott have done wonders for the program along with Irv and obviously Ellen. You have a wonderful brain trust and great hearts. I want to thank you for all you do.
In the beginning, we're only a year or two old. I distinctly remember when Paige and I went and met with the entire family and sat down with them, and I remember how thoughtful their questions were, and their investment in us was significant. It was the largest investment we had gotten to date. And to now fast forward 10 years later and to have had two of them serve on our board and be just truly invested in the work we do, we are just beyond grateful. I would say philanthropy, and specifically youth and believing in the power of youth, is woven tightly in the fabric of the Robinson family. And without their support, we would not be where we are today. But I really believe their genuine love of youth in Kansas City has been the driving force behind the work they've done with youth ambassadors.
I think what's special about the Robinsons is they give time, talent, and treasure, because they've been willing to give not only of their financial resources, but their talent and treasure to help make this organization better. That really has made a huge impact on the people youth ambassadors have helped. I believe legacy is critically important to Irv and Ellen, and they do it by leading by example. And you talk to anybody about what's the best way to, get your kids or the next generation involved, and I think the answer to that is your kids, not by what you say, but by your actions, follow you. And that's what's happened with the Robinson family, and Irv and Ellen have led by example, and Carrie and Michael and Ashley and Scott have followed.
I've witnessed the Robinson family really live that saying, the power of youth, truly. If you just look at the many things that the Robinson family supports, you can see the ways in which they care so much about the development of our youth across the community in the greater Kansas City area. They're just so generous and very dedicated to this idea that we need to develop our youths into tomorrow's leaders. And certainly Ellen and Irv and the entire family, they're leaders in our community, and they really live that. A special attribute of the entire Robinson family, and certainly you see this with Ellen and Irv, but all the family, is their connectedness to the issues that they care about. They don't just provide support, financial support or otherwise. They show up and they want to be engaged and involved, and they really walk the talk.
One of our ambassadors was sleeping on the floor of his grandmother's house, and he wrote in a journal writing that he didn't have any bedding. So the Robinson family called with a bunch of bedding for him, no questions asked. They also, when the kids were doing a collection of toys one Christmas for children who had lost their parents or family members to violence, my car was filled with toys for their collection to give out to kids. There's never any question asked. They're just there, they're immediate with their giving, and they care.
I've known the family for many years. They are a great family. They care deeply about one another. They care deeply about the world in which they live, and they want to make it a better place in which to be. They are one of the most generous, giving families I've ever met, who give of their own resources to others. But the resources are not just financial. The resources are also personal and emotional. Well, the Robinsons know that they have to start with themselves, but then they've gone that extra step, and then they change their family, and then they change their community, and they're going to change the world because they're going to touch other people. That's what I think we could be inspired by, and we should live by that model as well.
You know, when I was growing up, we grew up in a pretty middle-class family. We never went without food, or I didn't walk in the snow with no shoes or any of those things. But we never took vacations or anything like that, so there wasn't a lot of excess money, so to speak. But what I remember my mom doing, sitting at the kitchen table, I have a vivid picture of her doing this, is every Sunday she would sit down with the checkbook and she would write $5 out to this charity and $5 out to that charity and $5 out to this charity. And so just seeing that and knowing that, you know, this was a sacrifice. It wasn't like there was a lot of extra money, and that she always talked about how important it was to give to others, and she manifested that in many ways besides just writing checks. And so I grew up watching that, and our Jewish faith speaks to that, about feeding the hungry and clothing the naked and helping the homeless and really repairing the world and make it a place for that God intended it to be. And so that's a very strong part of my background, and so philanthropy and doing some small part to make things just a little bit better has been part of my life.
A long time ago, when I was 5 and my brothers were 7 and 9, my mom did something a little out of the box, and she dropped us off at the corner of 103rd and State Line and put these plastic containers in our hands. And she said, today's about asking strangers for money. So we spent what seemed like all afternoon there asking strangers for money. And when she came to pick us up, she took the money away. And I was a little shocked by that. I thought, really, look at how much I got more than my brothers. I should be able to use this for candy. And so I was a little surprised, and she said, no, we're going to take this money and we're going to donate it to City of Hope, which is for cancer research. And so at a very early age, she taught me the value of generosity. And that's translated in my life of really making sure that I think of other people and give back to others and tithe. And in our Jewish faith, we call it Tikkun Olam, repair the world, leave the world better than what you found it.
The family focus started when both my kids moved back to Kansas City, and they were living in other parts of the country, and they were stockholders in the company, and so we started meeting, and it just came together that we should think about what is our mission and what are our values and how do we make them come to life, and we spent about a year talking through those. And as a result of those conversations and dialogues, we decided that we would focus our efforts on underserved youth at risk. And it's been great having the opportunity to, work with your children who are now adults and making the world a little bit better place and letting our values come to life is a real joy. Once we decided, our family decided, kids all together decided we were going to focus on youth at risk. And it just kind of happened by, well, in my view, by chance. My daughter-in-law, Carrie, knew Tiffany, and so we had Tiffany and Paige come in, and we had this bunch of questions we always put everyone through, and questions that we had, and this was right up our alley, because not only was it youth at risk, but we also decided that we wanted to focus on more risk-taking. In other words, we would invest in smaller nonprofits where they may not succeed, and we'd invest in projects that might be more entrepreneurial or risk-taking. And certainly Youth Ambassadors fit that bill perfectly at that point in time. And so we love Youth Ambassadors. The work they do with children is so important, because really when you think about how you're going to change the world and make it better, the place, my personal belief is the place you need to start is with youth. That's your biggest opportunity for change. It's your biggest opportunity to make a really big difference for a long period of time. And in our faith, there's a saying that says that you save one life and you save the world. And so in this case, we save one child and we save the world. And certainly with over 1,500 kids that have gone through the Youth Ambassadors program, I think there's a very good chance that we've probably saved at least one.
One of the ways they do it is through their teaching. They teach different programming to help them see the world differently. Interviewing skills, budgeting skills, communication skills, anger management. And I think teaching people how to shift their inner world so their outer world is different is really, a fabulous thing to do.
My sense is, and maybe it's consistent with my belief, is that maybe the most important thing is resilience. Look, we're all going to have challenges. Every single kid, every single adult, we have challenges and difficulties. Now, these kids happen to have more than most, for sure. And so they're going to be confronted with those more often than most kids will. So the idea of how they can respond to those challenges and what decisions they make is so important. And Youth Ambassador gives them the opportunity to learn that and to experience that. And then the art program, what I think is so cool about that is, in the writing program, is they get a chance to really express themselves and their stories, which are heartbreaking. Sometimes I wonder how they even are still standing today, but they are. And Youth Ambassadors are taking these young kids and helping them have the opportunity to lead a productive life and to be contributors not only for their personal selves but for the community as a whole. And that's pretty big.
What Youth Ambassadors is doing is changing future generations. They're creating, something different to happen out of who they get to be in the world, and then their children are impacted by that, and their children's children are impacted by that.
One of the things I hope people come away with is a little self-reflection, is as to how grateful we all should be and can be for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon us. And then we'll reflect on that. And in that way, that allows us to be more generous. I also hope they come away with an appreciation of how impactful Youth Ambassadors is and how it's really making a difference in these kids' lives. I think when people look about where they want to invest and where they want to contribute, first I hope they think about how important youth is, and that with programs like Youth Ambassadors and others, that we can really empower these kids to live really great lives and to live up to their full potential. And that's all we all want to do, is to be able to do that. And so what Youth Ambassador does is give them the opportunity and some of the skill sets so that they have the opportunity to live up to their full potential.
What a time to need a friend. For most of us, 2020 has been an unbelievable series of unfortunate events. A global pandemic, social distancing, face coverings. Our lives are filled with personal protective equipment, pressures, and now politics. Don't worry, we are not going there. But we must be careful not to forget the Kansas City Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champions. We have adjusted to life in this environment, and we celebrate victories. We need to find them when they exist amidst this pandemic. PPE, pressures, and politics. We must be careful to not forget the biggest P of all, our priorities, which are faith, family, friends, and the future. All of those things, faith, family, friends, and future, they remind me of Irv and Ellen Robinson. Irv leads with his faith, with his big, beautiful smile. He and Ellen and their family, they believe in investing in the future in ways that leave an indelible mark. We are grateful at Youth Ambassadors to call them our friends. Better than that, they're family. The Youth Ambassadors proved extremely agile in this environment. We went away for spring break and returned in a virtual setting. The pressures of existing in this cyber bubble are very real. And we increased our focus on mental health. We actively communicate with our stakeholders. We hand-delivered in a contact-less environment groceries to the doorstep of every youth ambassador. I don't want to make it sound easy. Our adjustments and emphasis on social capital in a social distancing world are necessary. Youth ambassadors pivoted to stand in the gap and continue to deliver on our vital mission, supporting the ambassadors. So let's hear from the ambassadors. Let's witness firsthand the fruits of our labor and see why the Robinsons are so passionate about us and why you should link arms with them.
Our family is a circle of strength and love. With every birth and union, it grows. Every crisis faced together makes the circle stronger.
My mom is the only person that I would trust. Her heart is the size of the earth, and her positivity will render any and all negativity useless. My mom is the light in the darkness. She always brought me up when I was at my lowest. She is the reason that I can perform at my peak, and if it wasn't for her, my heart wouldn't be able to beat.
My life is chaotic. There's ups and downs. It has shaped me. It's the reason I constantly watch my back. It's the reason I try so hard. I feel like I've lived lifetimes in these 16 years. I've learned so much, even though it has been mostly darkness. I feel like I've finally reached the light at the end of the tunnel. If only these walls talk, I always have said, but I'm happy they don't. I'm finally done reminiscing. It's chaotic, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it, my life.
This poem is for my dad. Because of you, I'm the strong young woman I am today. Because of you, I gave the hustler's mentality and I'm a grit for mine. Because of you, I can hide all my pain behind this big smile. Because of you, I'm better in myself. Because of you, I'ma walk that stage and look up and tell you I did it. Because of you, I'm the woman I am today.
One partnership that I have struggled with is the partnership between me and my dad. We're still trying to get to a place where I can have a relationship with him. It's very rocky between us because he hasn't really been in my life. I've had a lot of anger and hurt because of him. I finally got up the courage to text him a long paragraph explaining why I feel hurt by him and why I feel like he doesn't love me. I don't think that I would do anything differently, but I would probably have forgiven him a little bit sooner than I did. I forgave him not for him, but for me, so that I could get the weight off my shoulders that's been there for years.
Me and my dad have always been different. He's in and out of my life, but consistent in my other siblings' lives. I guess I have trust issues. Since he's terminally ill, I have to be more vulnerable because I just want to have a relationship with him. And I know that sometimes everyone isn't perfect, but they might try their best, but sometimes it might not be enough.
Honesty and loyalty, that's a part of me. Confidence and positivity, that's how my life is. Honesty to yourself is better than anything. Don't give honesty if you don't have honesty yourself. Allow yourself to be beautiful and honest with yourself before you try to be honest and beautiful for somebody else.
I am grateful for the seas. The water hydrates you, cleans you, and allows you to float upon it, but it can also drown you. For I have taken you for granted, and forgotten what I have could slip from right under me. I have drowned. You are the waters, how the reflection of it makes the skies, how you make up so much of my world. You illuminate my world. The snow crystals that are made of you, the grass that flourishes because of you, dancing in the rain, finally letting go of the day because of you. That is why I am grateful for the seas, because they remind me of my dear D.
A girl who wonders when life will begin, when will life bring good? A girl who wanders through the night, looking for the perfect space to let feelings go. A girl who dreams to be all cases in law, giving people freedom. A girl who is goofy as she can be, stopping sadness with every smile. A girl who never stops trying, conquering every day with every step. A girl who everyone thinks is too happy. A girl who won't share her story. A girl that will go to war for all. A girl who is me.
Thank you, teacher. Teacher, for reaching deep in me to find all I can be before I can see it myself. You never gave up on me. I have a future because of you.
Irrespective of what it looks like now, there will be a tomorrow. Won't you help us prepare for it?